make sure we represent you correctly. So I'll ask you again. Is the Quran Allah's speech?
Yeah, it's from his speech. I didn't say it is his speech. Is the Quran Allah's speech? Yeah, it's part of the speech. Yeah, it's part of the speech.
Yeah, it's part of the speech.
Is it his speech or not?
It is not the entirety of Allah's speech.
So it's part of his speech.
Never said part.
I'm asking.
I said no.
Is there anything that's uncreated that's not Allah?
Uncreated, that's not Allah? What do you mean?
Is there anything in existence that is also uncreated? Or is Allah the only one who is uncreated?
So if you mean by uncreated, do you mean necessary or do you mean literally independent?
I mean that it's never had a point where it came into existence.
Okay, so to my knowledge, no.
The attributes of Allah, would you say that they are distinct from Allah, or are they one with, are they Allah?
Right, so they are distinctions, and that does not mean that they are separate to him. So when we say that the attributes are a distinction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this refers to the fact that they are a counter-independent with his essence. Do you understand that?
They're counter-independent with his essence. What does that mean?
Sorry, counter-dependent, my bad.
What does that mean?
Okay, so a counter-dependency just simply means that the essence and the attributes coexist with each other in order for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be who he is. He cannot exist with one without the other. For example, we can't say that an essence can exist without an attribute, and we can't say that an attribute can exist without an essence, right? So the two of them are necessary in order for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to exist. He can't exist without either one. Just like anything else that exists, right? For example, if I was to say like a rock exists, and that rock has absolutely no properties, well, that's not really something that we could say that exists, right? Properties are things that are used to define anything in particular that exists.
Can Allah exist without his speech?
Once again, I just said that attributes cannot exist without the essence, so no.
So Allah cannot exist without his speech?
Without his attribute of being able to speak, yeah, he can't exist without it.
Right. And so is the Quran Allah's speech?
Is the Quran Allah's speech? Yeah, it's part of the speech. It's not the entirety of the attribute of speech of Allah.
So it's part of the attribute of his speech. Is the Quran created?
No, the Quran is uncreated.
The Quran is uncreated. The Quran is uncreated.
Let's understand what uncreated and created means. So when we say that the attributes and the things, the actions that come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are uncreated, we're talking about the existence of these particular things in general. So anything, any action in which God does, they are not dependent upon anything other than himself. When we say words like contingent, dependent, independent, so on and so forth, we're just simply meaning that they do not depend on anything else to exist other than the individual himself, which would be God in this case.
The Quran has never come into existence. It has always existed, correct?
What does that mean? Like, are you saying that the Quran didn't come into, for example, our world, or are you
No. I mean, like, there was never a point where the Quran did not exist.
Okay, so in terms of his knowledge, no, it's always existed. And in terms of the speech, I'm getting there. Relax. Okay. And by the way, I didn't know that this was a Q&A session, but we'll go through it.
We're just talking. We're just talking about Tawheed.
Yeah. No problem. So in terms of the Quran, this is something that has always existed within the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In terms of the attribute of speech, obviously it's something that was brought forward towards his creation in order for us to also be able to acknowledge it.
So respectfully, that's not what I'm asking. So is Allah's knowledge distinct from his speech?
Is Allah's knowledge distinct from his speech? Yeah, sure. But in terms of, let me finish. Okay. So in terms of specific attributes of Allah, such as speech, such as knowledge, so on and so forth, there are particular attributes that do come into play together. For example, his speech and his knowledge. Without his knowledge, there would be no coherent speech.
I'm glad, though, that you acknowledge that there is a distinction between Allah's speech and Allah's knowledge. They're not the same thing. So if they're not the same thing, and we can get past that, which is good. So the Quran, you said, is part of Allah's speech, right?
All right. It's from his speech. We wouldn't say necessarily part, but go ahead. If I said
well, that's what you said. I'm going with you. You said it's part of Allah's speech. So
I took it back. Hold on. I retracted it. If I said speech, I specifically said I retracted it. Go ahead. Don't build off of a false argument.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to. I want to make sure we represent you correctly. So I'll ask you again. Is the Quran Allah's speech?
Yeah, it's from his speech. I didn't say it is his speech. Is the Quran Allah's speech? Yeah, it's part of the speech. Yeah, it's part of the speech.
Yeah, it's part of the speech.
Is it his speech or not?
I just said it's It is not the entirety of Allah's speech.
So it's part of his speech.
Never said part.
I'm asking.
I said no.
So okay. So if it's not part of his speech, then it is his speech, right?
We say part. Okay. So the real understanding in terms of why we don't say part is because specifically when you say part, it means that there's a limit to something. So it's not something that ends. We would say that it's from the speech, from the knowledge of God.
Okay. Again. So if it's from his speech, the Quran is from his speech, then it is his speech, right? Now,
No,
when you
we don't
say,
that it is his speech.
wait, hold on,
When
let me
you say
just,
it is his
let me just
speech,
preface it. I'm
yeah,
sorry,
so when you
let me
say
just preface
it
it.
is his speech,
Wait,
when you
Itachi,
say
please,
it is his
please,
speech, you're saying
I listen
it's
to
the
you, I
entirety
listen
of
to you, Itachi, hold on a second, hold on.
No, because you're cutting me off in the middle.
No,
of me
I don't mean to,
giving
I'm sorry, I know, let me just
Yeah, so let me finish.
No,
Let me
wait,
finish
please,
clarifying.
I'm respectfully,
Okay, so
let
go ahead,
me
build off a
please.
false point. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I'm not building off a false point, I'm
Sure,
just
go
building
ahead.
off what you said.
Go ahead.
When you say, because you said this, that the Quran is not the entirety of Allah's speech. That literally means that the Quran then is part or a chunk of Allah's speech by default.
From
So-
it. Yeah, so we're not gonna, we don't have to deflect or desist towards the way that you want to clarify a particular point, right? So if I say it's from it, then I would ask you to acknowledge the terminology that I use.
I am. That's why I'm asking
Right,
you
that's why
a
I said
specific
from.
question when I
That's
said,
why I didn't say
is the Quran...
parts, I said from.
So, okay, I'll ask again. When you said that the Quran is not entirely Allah's speech, right?
That's why I said it's from it for the fifth time.
Right. So when you say that it's not entirely Allah's speech, that means it is some of Allah's speech, correct?
It is
Not all of
from
it.
speech. I never said it's some of it. I
know
never said
that-
it's part of it. I never said it's a chunk of it. That's clearly words that I did not use. So
This is where you kind of got yourself in trouble, is with your terminology by using words like entirely automatically by default mean that, okay, it is some of or a part of. When you say entire, it's not not the entirety of his speech. That means it is some of his speech or
okay, go
part
ahead.
of his
Let's
speech,
split
but
the
not in
argument.
full.
Sure. Let's go with that.
The Quran is part of Allah's speech. So Allah's speech then has components to it. It can be divided in a way.
Okay, the speech, the attribute of speech, or are you talking about the contents?
Allah's speech. We're talking about Allah's
No,
speech.
the speech, no. The contents, sure.
Okay. So does the speech by necessity contain content within it?
The speech by necessity, no. The attribute in and of itself is something that you have the ability to do. Right? The speech, the content that comes afterwards, right? That's something different.
So when you said, because you affirmed earlier that the Quran is uncreated, right? It's not created. There's not a time where it came into existence, right?
Yeah, and what did I say uncreated means?
Well, that's why I'm trying to...
You did say that this was going to be a back and forth, so can you answer what I said
Well,
when I said
yes. That's what, I actually clarified
What does that mean?
what I meant by uncreated, and you said yes, if I'm not mistaken.
What did I say it means?
So what I said that it means, and you agreed, is that there's not been a point in time that it came into existence.
Okay, and specifically what? Specifically what?
Specifically the speech.
Specifically that it does not depend upon anybody else in order for it to exist other than the source itself, right?
I'm not asking about dependency.
I gave you the understanding in terms of what we say when we mean things like contingent, when we mean counter dependency, and so on and so forth, right? These things are all only and solely dependent upon the self-existent one, which is God, which is Allah.
I'm not asking about dependency. I'm not asking about what it depends on.
I'm just clarifying to make sure that you don't end up strawmanning at the end.
Okay, good. I'm not so please clarify what I ask, not what I'm not asking. Okay. So do we agree then that the Quran is uncreated in the sense that it has never had a point in time that it came into existence? I can't hear you if you're off the screen getting help or something.
Okay, so in terms of what I was saying, in terms of there being a distinction between the speech and the content of the speech, what I mean by that is the fact that the attribute itself, which is from the asma al-fa'aliyah, right, because it's an action, the action itself is something which is uncreated, and the speech itself is the content of the speech itself is also uncreated. Now, when we say that the content can be broken up, for example, when I say Bismillah, right, that's one of the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the Quran, right, or from the uncreated speech that he has. But this is not to say that the speech itself, the attributes, can be broken up.
Okay, so the words, what you said, the speech is an action, right?
Yes.
The attribute of speech is an action. The action of speech is doing what?
The action of speech is something that coincides in regards to Allah's essence and so on and so forth, and it allows him.
What is it? What is this? What is
I'm
it?
getting
What is
there.
the action?
I'm getting
What is
there.
the action?
So the action specifically allows for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to communicate in any particular way in which he feels.
Okay, so speech by definition is communication by necessity, right?
Sure. In terms of what? In terms of going for giving point A to an individual who is other than him?
Or no, not necessarily. Just it's communication. He's this attribute of speech.
So no, the attribute in and of itself, I would disagree with you. I disagree with you. So the attribute in and of itself is not something that necessitates another individual in order for you to be able to communicate, right? You could have an attribute and not necessarily be utilizing the attributes, for example.
Okay. So good. So if the attribute is there, right? Because you said speech is an action. You said it's an action. This is something that is eternal, that's uncreated, that's always been. It's not been a time where it's not happening. Has Allah always been doing the action of speech?
Okay, so again, I literally just said, and by the way, this is the position that I hold to at the very least, right? In terms of what I just said, it does not necessitate the idea that you have to continuously be doing something in order for you to be inherently having a particular attribute. So I would disagree with that notion.
I'm sorry though, but as soon as you said that speech is an action, the attribute of speech is an action, then you have already conceded that speech is something that you're always doing. It's an action. It's not just something you're sitting.
Where's the connection to that? Can you please break it down a bit?
Sure. An action is something you do.
Okay, an action is something you do. I agree, but I did not say.
So you can't.
Hold on. I never said that you have to continuously be doing the action in order for it to be considered uncreated in regards to Allah. That's not something it means.
Okay. So if speech by default is an action, according to you, is an action, it's something that Allah is doing forever, always, from eternity's past. You can't say that.
I never said that.
Well, if you're saying no. This is my. I'm sorry, Itachi, hold on.
Okay,
this is me analyzing what you said and coming to his right conclusion. Now, if you're trying to say now that, well, no, his attribute of speech isn't something that he always does, it's just something he possesses, then you're not saying then that speech is an action. It's just some type of attribute that he has, but not an action.
What are you talking about? Okay, so when we say action, what do we mean by that? It's something that he particularly does, correct?
Correct.
Okay, beautiful. So from that particular action which he does, is it necessitated that he has to continuously be doing that action in order for it to be considered?
That's my question to you.
Okay, no, I literally just answered you prior to that it's not the case that you always have to be doing a particular action.
Okay, beautiful. So there's a point in time.
Listen. Can I finish and answer?
No, go ahead. I'm chilling.
Yeah, so stop interrupting.
I'm not. Hey, we interjecting each other, Itachi.
No, I'm not interjecting you. The only time where I interject is when you interrupt me.
No need to be feisty. Go ahead. If you say go ahead.
No problem. So in terms of the action, once again, it does not have to be something that's continuously utilized in order for it to be considered uncreated, in order for it to be considered an attribute, and so on and so forth.
All right. If you just said that it doesn't necessitate that he's always doing this action, right? Then there's a point in time where he does the action of speech then, right?
Okay. So going back to the definition I said of uncreated, since you clearly missed it, can you please go back to what I said uncreated refers to?
No, I can't, because that's not what...
because you don't remember, which is why you're making this bogus point right now.
Yeah, no, I'm not, though, because I'm talking about
actually you are, because if you listen to what I said,
you're interrupting me now. You're interrupting me now. You're interrupting me now.
Yeah, you stopped. Actually, it was my turn.
I didn't.
If you could go back to it, you said no.
I didn't stop. When you said, talking about uncreatedness, talking about dependability, and it doesn't depend on it depends on Allah for its yada yada yada. That's not what I asked. Uncreated meaning there hasn't been a time where this thing has come into being. That's what uncreated means.
Oh my God.
Are we on the same page?
Uncreated, once again, does not refer to only what you're talking about right now. I already defined it multiple times.
Okay. Is there a sense of something being uncreated that at some point in time came into existence.
Okay, so in terms of uncreated, the way that I defined it for you and the way that you're clearly trying to avoid right now is specifically the fact that it's unsourced from anything other than God, and it is solely dependent upon his existence. In terms of that, that's what we mean when we say that it's uncreated. In terms of it being a fa'ali attribute, which we understand the fact that it can occur in any particular moment in time, a fa'ali attribute occurs at a particular period where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals something. This is not to say that the Quran is created simply because it's also something that is part of other attributes as well, right? For example, it is something that comes from his knowledge. It is something that comes from his speech. It's something that comes from his wisdom, and so on and so forth. Each of these has particular manners in which it functions with the Quran.
Do you, as a human being, rely on Allah solely for your existence?
Do I? Yes, I rely upon Allah for my existence.
Are you uncreated?
Am I uncreated? No, I'm not uncreated.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we just got rid of the fluff of by uncreated meaning something that solely depends on Allah for its existence or for its state of being. That's out the window. So when we get that out the way, we see that things that depend solely on Allah for its existence, right, does not mean that it's uncreated. We know that we're talking about something that has either come into being or has always existed without coming into being, without having a beginning starting point. That's what we're talking about. So please don't go on anything else. This is what we're talking about, but when the term uncreated. Is the Quran uncreated in the sense that it has never had a time where it came into being?
Yes, it is. So,
thank you.
Specifically, okay, can I finish?
Yeah, of course. Again, I just said thank you. Go ahead.
Without the ad-libs, please. Thank you.
No, with the ad-libs. You need the ad-libs. Thank you.
Okay, so you could keep going with the ad-libs, or we could get Central to moderate it, which, by the way, you did the first.
We're good. We having a good conversation. Why are you so sensitive?
Right. So don't do the ad-libs. I'm just asking you for some decent respect, right?
Nah, I'm going to do the ad-libs. It's part of my personality.
All right, so you won't be respectful?
I'm respecting you. Right? Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah. So when it comes to the speech of Allah, when it comes to the Quran, again, it is uncreated by way of the fact that it comes from no one other than God, and the fact that it is something that has always existed with his knowledge, with his wisdom, and so on and so forth. When it comes to a fa'ali attribute, it is something that is used by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to communicate it to us. This is not to say that it's created. It's not to say that this attribute of speech is created, and so on and so forth. Like, once again, and by the way, I would just want to clarify one thing that you were talking about as well. When it comes to the attributes and the unification of them, right, this is not to say that anything with regards to them is by default deferred from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the fact that it's, like, for example, what you were trying to compare it to when it comes to me and so on and so forth, right? If I exist, that's not to say that I exist just because I exist created and so on and so forth, right? I exist by way of, for example, the fact that Allah has given life to me and so on and so forth. The way in which Allah's attributes exist is not the same way.
Okay, so we were disrespectful. Did you land? The reason why I brought you up is because you were saying that you was giving your definition and meaning of uncreated to mean that something that the Quran is uncreated in the sense that it solely depends on Allah for its existence. It's not dependable on anything outside of Allah for its existence. That's why I went to you and showed you the fallacy in that type of definition, because that would mean then you're uncreated because you rely solely on Allah for your existence. But you were able to recognize that, wait, no, I am created. So therefore that definition doesn't work. Okay. Now, I let you go on for a minute. I let you go on for
so you don't want me to respond to what you just said?
You can respond in a second.
Okay, so go ahead. Spit fire points. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not trying to. You spit fire points.
I'm asking you if I could reply to a point, and then you want to spit fire.
And the answer is no.
Okay, so go ahead. Spit fire points. Go ahead.
All right, Ma'ashashu. Now you're saying that, well, the attribute is uncreated also in the sense that it exists always within Allah's knowledge. The Quran is uncreated in the way that it existed always in Allah's knowledge. I'm going to ask you now, have you always existed in Allah's knowledge?
Okay, so did I say it solely exists only in Allah's knowledge?
No, you didn't. That was part of it. And
instead of straw manning, what else did I say?
I didn't straw man you.
Okay, so I'm asking you, what else did I say?
I told you what you just said. So can you answer?
So is it just the knowledge?
No. But that's what I'm asking you.
So what else was it?
So you said it depends solely on Allah for its existence, and it exists always in Allah's knowledge.
As well as
What else?
Yo, guys, we're kind of going in circles.
No, this is good right now.
But it's kind of like it's repetitive. If you're not understanding it, do you want me to bring someone up that can...
No, she's doing good.
Sorry, my mom.
I'm not talking to nobody else, but either you or her.
Right. Okay. So from the knowledge, again, there is other things that come into play with it. Can you please repeat what the other things that came into play were that I said?
No.
I'm asking you because it was not the only one that I said.
And the answer is no. Itachi, I asked you something very simple.
Remember,
have you always existed? Have you always existed in Allah's knowledge?
Okay, is that the only thing that I said in which it comes to the Quran? Because I did not only
when it comes to its uncreatedness.
The difference between the Quran and myself is that obviously there are other things that come into play. What were the other things that I said?
Wait, hold on. Okay, I'll name what I remember you saying. Okay, and then hopefully you can answer. You said in relating to the Quran's uncreatedness that it's uncreated in the sense that it's always been in Allah's knowledge, and it solely depends on Allah for its existence. It's not dependent on something else for its existence, but solely on Allah's essence. That's what you said. Did I miss something?
Yes, you absolutely did, because that's not the only attribute I mentioned. What other attributes did I say?
Well, tell me so that way I can continue to ask you the question. Maybe you can finally answer.
Okay. The main one being is the one that you're asking about in regards to his speech, the one about his knowledge, the one about his wisdom, and so on and so forth. So can you please tell me how I applied each of them to the speech of Allah?
Wait. No.
Specifically the Quran.
It's not about that. Is the Quran Allah's knowledge?
Okay, so I asked you specifically because I did not say that the Quran is only his knowledge, right?
So you're saying the Quran is a multitude of Allah's attributes?
I'm asking you to tell me which other attributes did I apply it to, and which ones.
No. If you apply other attributes to it, I'm simply asking you this question. Okay? Is the Quran a multitude of Allah's attributes?
Okay, so when you say multitude, do you mean that it's coming into play with other attributes, or are you saying that it occurs multiple different times in different ways?
No, so I'm asking the Quran itself, is it, because I know that it's Allah's speech. I know it's Kalam Allah. I'm asking, is it also knowledge of Allah? Is it also his knowledge? Is it also his other things?
Okay, so we would not, okay, so the way that you're wording that is incorrect, right? We would not say that it's identical to the knowledge. We would not say it's identical to the kalam and so on and so forth, right? We would say that these are things that contribute to the Quran in and of itself, right? The Quran is from the knowledge of Allah. The Quran is from the speech of Allah. The Quran is from the wisdom of Allah. Not identical to each of the attributes. Do you understand?
Got it. So the Quran is not Kalam Allah. It has some of Kalam Allah in it.
Okay, it
Kalam is speech for the people listening.
Specifically from the Kalam of Allah. I did not say some, I did not say part. So once again,
you did when you said
the
not
proper
entire.
Terminology. Otherwise, you could just start referring to scholars and bringing their quotes up. If you think I'm misquoting something, by the way.
Okay, so let's just be clear, okay? Because I'm gonna ask you this very straightforward question one more time, so I can move on to the next question. Has there ever been a time where the Quran came into existence? Yes or no?
Okay. So once again, no. I've answered it 5 times. Do you have a new question?
Yeah, I do now. Is the Quran distinct from Allah?
Okay, so the Quran is from the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is distinct from him, not separate to him. It's something which is codependent, or if you want to say counter-dependent upon the essence and the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One cannot exist without the other.
Beautiful. Okay. Okay, good. On the day of resurrection.
Really quick, can you just repeat what I just said?
No, I won't. On the day of resurrection, will the Quran intercede on your behalf?
Yeah, the Quran will intercede on my behalf. My fasting, if you want to finish quoting the Hadith, my fasting will intercede on my behalf, and so on and so forth.
What does it mean to intercede?
Okay, so the intercession is by way, in this particular Hadith, the way the understanding of the Salaf particularly puts it for this Hadith is the fact that these things, the actions that we've done and so on and so forth, are things that are going to come in terms of the fact that we did these actions or we did not do these actions. That's all it is. It's not hold on.
What does it mean to intercede?
Let me finish. So intercession, again, in this particular Hadith, is the fact that our actions are going to testify for us on our behalf.
That's not what the Hadith says.
That's literally, I could pull up quotes from the Salaf if you want.
Well, let's pull
Wait, but what does this have to do with Tawheed?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm showing. So when you say you say that these actions will testify on your behalf, testify to Allah, right?
Yeah.
So they'll be testifying to Allah on your behalf, including the Quran. The Quran itself, according to the Hadith, will intercede, will testify on that day on your behalf.
And how exactly did I say it was going to do that?
Well, you're saying that it's the action of you reciting it and things of this nature. Exactly. That's your understanding, right?
Beautiful. Go ahead. Yeah.
Very good. The Quran doesn't. The Hadith doesn't say that. That the way that you recite it and all that will be what comes and intercedes on you or speaks for you. The Hadith says that the Quran itself will intercede for you, talk back to Allah and say, Allah, this person recited me in this part of the night. This person recited me and did this such and such verses. So the Quran itself is going to speak the speech of Allah, or not some of the speech of Allah that is uncreated, that has always existed, that's not Allah but distinct from Allah, is going to, on the day of judgment, speak and defend you to Allah, in which it's not separated from. I want to know, what is your problem with the Trinity if this is your belief?
Okay, so first and foremost, this has nothing to do with the Trinity.
What I'm showing you is that according to Tawheed, it's logically incoherent, because you're saying that only Allah has these attributes of being, infinite, self-sufficient, eternal, uncreated, and things of this nature, that these things are, that he's absolutely singular in his essence. He's absolutely singular in his essence. No. Yet, you have another thing that is not separate from Allah, but distinct from him, that is also uncreated because it shares in the essence of Allah, and will defend and speak for you, on your behalf, back to Allah. The speech of Allah is going to speak back to Allah. So it's going to have some type of personhood or consciousness, at least in this moment, speak back to Allah. Right here in this in this time, you have a plurality of personhood or consciousness within Allah's essence. Or you just need to say that you have something else that's uncreated, that's not Allah.
Plurality. Yeah. Can you expand on the plurality part? Go ahead.
Yeah. The expansion is that you have Allah's speech or word that now develops some type of cognitive ability that's able to speak and have knowledge and defend you as a believer, knows what you did, and able to speak on your behalf and defend you to Allah, be able to speak to Allah. That's personhood. That's cognitive ability. Also, though, the Quran, as you said, is not separate from Allah. So it's within Allah. It's because it's some of his, it's from his speech. So it's from the essence of Allah. So within Allah's own essence, now you have a plurality of persons. It would seem.
Persons?
Yes. Cognitive.
Yeah. So first and foremost, a plurality would refer to the fact that an attribute in specific occurs 2 times in Allah's essence, right? So the attribute in and of itself, does the attribute of speech occur 2 times in Allah? No, it doesn't, right? There's only one attribute of speech. We all understand what the word speech means, so on and so forth, right? There's only one attribute of knowledge, and likewise for all of the Quran. Once again, do you want me to quote you people from the Salaf, because you asked me my position? So once again, I'm asking you, do you want me to quote you the people from the Salaf who tell you that this is the understanding of the Hadith?
It's not that I don't want you to quote what your people say. I know what some of you guys say on the understanding, how you guys try to interpret this Hadith. My thing is actually, I'm critiquing your understanding and showing you how your understanding is a cop-out and going away from what the Hadith actually says. The Hadith doesn't say anything about, oh, well, it's, it's in these particular actions. It's the reason that you recited the Quran and you believed in it and recited it, that the fact that you did that will be extra points for you on the day of resurrection. No, the Hadith says that the Quran itself will intercede for you, will speak to Allah for you. Not just that, but the Quran also will have 2 chapters that will split off and come as flocks of birds, right? Or clouds. It says either birds or clouds. And they also will speak on behalf of you. Really, it gets even deeper into an issue, because you have the Quran that's uncreated. So obviously the contents within the Quran also, as you said, the contents of Allah's speech is uncreated. So then the contents of the Quran, those 2 surahs that will come out like flocks of birds and intercede. So flocks of birds is many birds. So the chapters of the Quran turn into many different beings, come as a conglomerate, come as a collective, speak on your behalf. You have so many examples of the Quran being conscious and cognitive and uncreated, speaking back to Allah. You have so many pluralities either within Allah or you just have many gods. This is the issue.
Okay, so thank you for your Protestant exegesis of Islam, the Quran, the Sunnah, so on and so forth. But yet again, you still want to defer away from my position. Particular, can I finish, or you?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Quran and your fasting is going to intercede for you. Now, if it's the case you want to focus on the Quran, can I just ask you, if it's the case that my fasting is not a particular object or thing that I'm holding in my hands that's tangible and so on and so forth, can you please tell me how exactly that's supposed to testify for me? Since you want to give exegesis, go ahead.
Oh no, it's very simple. Allah has the ability to give fasting, create fasting, some type of corporeal form where it can speak to you, where it can intercede for you, where it can defend you.
Hadith?
So you asking me,
is that in the Hadith?
Break this down and make it make sense for me.
Oh, but is that in the Hadith?
This is Itachi.
Yeah, I asked you a question, and now you're giving an exegesis, not only an exegesis, but an interpretation.
Why are you interrupting me, Itachi?
Yeah, I'm asking you to stay on the same exact point that you were asking.
I'm answering your question, Itachi. It says fasting and the Quran will intercede for a man. Fasting says, "Oh my Lord, I have kept him away from his food and his passions by day, so accept my intercession for him." Your Hadith
and is fasting a tangible thing that actually exists?
Let me finish, please, Itachi.
Right, so is fasting a tangible thing that actually exists?
I promise you I will listen, I promise.
Yeah, go ahead.
I promise when it's your turn, I'll listen.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so according to the Hadith, however it happens, well, let's just say Allahu Alam. Allahu Alam, we don't know how it happens.
Yeah, go ahead.
The fasting will have the ability to speak and say things and defend you on the day of resurrection. Not my problem. This is your problem. So you have the fasting and the Quran that develop a consciousness that's able to defend you on the day of judgment. The problem here is not with the fasting, because the fasting is not some uncreated attribute or uncreated thing that has always existed, but the Quran is. So you have the Quran that exists within Allah's essence, that is eternal and uncreated, that now has a consciousness and is speaking to Allah. You now have a plurality of persons within Allah's essence.
Okay.
Tawheed.
Are you done? Okay, no problem. So, GodLogic, can I ask you a basic question regarding the Arabic, right? What does the word Quran mean?
Recite.
Okay, and what is fasting?
Fasting is when you abstain from certain things.
Would you agree that these are two actions?
Sure.
Okay. Are these two actions particular things according to this hadith that I have done in my lifetime that are attesting for me?
Sure.
Okay, so if it's the case that it's my actions attesting for me, does anything in the hadith imply that this thing is going to now become a bodily form? Does it say anything about a body, or is that something that you're just simply implying based off of
I never said body. So number one, okay. I never said body.
Does it say anything
I said they will have the ability to speak, and now it's
so
cognitive.
I'm asking, okay, so I'm clarifying.
I never said body, so
hold on. I let you finish.
Yeah, I just don't want you to build a point off.
No, I'm not strawmanning. The only one strawmanning is the one that's taking the hadith out of context, right?
So did I say fasting will have a bodily form?
So again, I'm asking, right? Because you said that Allah can manifest.
Did I say that the fasting will have a bodily form?
Yes, you did. You said that Allah can make it so that it manifests as a corporeal sense. I can clip it and send you it.
So wait. So me saying corporeal doesn't.
Corporeal, literally.
Corporeal. I never said that it will have a physical body, though. I never said it has to have a physical body.
Okay, so
corporeal form means it's visible as some type of way that it's going to speak.
Okay, so we're going to look up the definition of the word that you don't know that you're using, and we're going to just see what it means. Okay. So, Central, can I get big screen, please? And you say corporeal doesn't refer to the fact that it's a body?
No, what I was saying was that I'm not talking about that the fasting is going to have a physical body.
Correct?
I never said that.
I
said that's probably going to come into some corporeal form. I said Allahu Alam. Who knows?
Okay, but not a body.
Know that it's going to develop a consciousness and be able to speak.
But not a body.
Go ahead. Make your point.
Okay, so the word corporeal quite literally means having a body. Right, that's the word that you just used, right? Does the hadith say anything about these two particular actions, which you agreed are actions? Does it say anything about them coming in a material form? Yes or no?
Okay, so can I answer you in full without interruption?
Yeah, please answer me directly.
Thank you so much. So what I'm saying is I said Allahu Alam, who knows how the fasting is going to speak. Maybe it will come into a corporeal body. And you corrected me. Thank you. You corrected me by corporeal, literally or some material form. Okay. So I'm not too arrogant enough to be like, oh, or try to hold it in. Oh, you know, you're right on that. But I'm saying Allahu Alam. I'm not making this point. Like, I never said that, oh, the fasting is going to have some corporeal form, like it's going to be like a definite, it's going to have a physical body. That's not the point I said. I was giving that as an option. Okay. So, but what my point is that fasting and the Quran will develop a consciousness. Okay. Whether it's through a physical form, the Quran or the Hadith is not specific on that. Okay. No problem. Now, here's my question to you, because you talked about these actions. Okay. Here's my question to you, right? The Quran. Is the Quran an action?
The recitation of the Quran, yes, which is with literally.
I literally did not ask that. I asked,
yes, it's a recitation.
The Quran
it's an action.
Huh?
The Quran, the recitation of the Quran is an action.
I didn't ask that. Did I ask that?
Okay. So it does not exist on its own, right? Words don't just float around by themselves.
Itachi.
Yeah, so I'm answering you directly.
Itachi,
I'm answering you directly. It's not
Itachi,
an action.
Itachi, you know
the
how
word in and
you know
of
how
itself
you stopped me
is
to
not
answer
an
you
action.
directly? I'm not asking about the recitation. Let me ask you this. Is there a distinction between is there a distinction of the recitation of the Quran and the Quran?
Okay. So the Quran in and of itself is a recitation. Yes or no?
No, you're not answering the question. Is the recitation of the Quran, let me ask, please. Is the recitation of the Quran and the Quran two distinct things?
The Quran is a recitation. It's not something that exists on its own, right? It's not a book. Like, for example, the book in and of itself, we don't call it Quran. Hold on. We don't call the book the Quran. We call that the Mus'haf. So the Mus'haf, the one with ink and letters and so on and so forth, is not what we consider the Quran.
Yeah,
the Quran we consider a recitation. That's all it is.
Very good.
That's an action. It requires a bodily thing, such as myself, or in the case of Allah, it requires Allah to enact a particular form of speech.
Did the Quran, this recitation, exist before it was revealed to Muhammad?
Yes, it did.
Okay, so the Quran, this recitation, the Quran, existed in and of itself before it was recited by mankind. It was recited by Allah, right?
Yeah, do you know what the Lawh
Would you agree that the Quran exists in the mother of the book?
The Lawh al-Mahfuz, yeah.
Very good. So it is actually in the mother of the book. So the Quran.
Do you know what the mother of the book is? What is that?
So hold on, no, that's not the question.
I'm just asking you, what is that?
Wait, guys, what does this have to do with Tawheed?
It has everything to do with it. It has everything to do with it. Watch. So the Quran exists in the mother of the book before mankind ever recited it. It existed. It was its own thing, right? When Muhammad recited,
what do you mean own thing?
When Muhammad recited,
just clarify. What do you mean own thing?
When Muhammad recited, he recited the Quran, correct?
Correct.
So the Quran is actually a thing that exists, correct?
Right. So when we say
not just an action,
Quran,
does.
Okay, so when we say Iqra al-Quran, right, we're referring to the particular thing in and of itself. When we refer to the Quran on its own, we're talking about the recitation of the revelation that Allah gave to Jibreel, who gave it to Muhammad, and so on and so forth. Okay?
Very good.
So again, the Quran in and of itself is not something that just exists on its own. Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz is specifically something in which Allah had transcribed it. So again, a transcription is not the same thing as the recitation in and of itself. So please, if you will, not strawman, and refer to things that are transcribed, because I literally told you about 4 times. I'm trying to finish.
Is the Quran distinct from the mother of the book?
The Quran in and of itself is a recitation. When we say the Quran is transcribed onto particular things, for example, Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, for example, the Mus'haf, and so on and so forth, these are transcriptions of the Qira'ah. Right? The Qira'ah in and of itself is an action. Can you please stick to that point?
When you say that the Quran is in the mother of the book, it's in the mother of the book. So the Quran is actually a thing that's in the mother of the book, correct?
Again, a transcription of something does not refer to the fact that it's the original thing.
Is the Quran in the mother of the book or not?
Is the mother of the book the original source of it?
I'm asking, is the Quran in the mother of the book? Yes or no?
Okay, even if I answer yes, it still does not change the fact. It still does not change the fact it's not the original source of it.
Yes. Just answer yes if it's yes.
I literally just did.
Okay, thank you. So that's all you got to do. Just stop there.
Okay, is that the source of it?
So if the answer is yes, the Quran
Is that the source
is
of it?
in the mother of the book.
So is the mother of the book the original source of the Quran?
We're not asking that. You're not
I'm
answering the
asking
question.
that. I am asking that. So beautiful. So I'll explain to you why I'm not answering your question.
I don't
and why
need you to explain to me why you're
deflecting
not answering. I need you to
no problem.
answer the
So,
question.
Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, the mother of the book that you keep referring to, is not the original source of the Quran. When it's
Is the Quran in
transcribed, bro, Central, you're gonna have to moderate this, or else I'm not gonna be able to actually answer fully.
You're not answering nothing. You have to.
Right.
Answer
I'm
the
actually
question.
trying to.
Itachi, go ahead, respond.
So when it comes to Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, this is not the original source of the Quran. The original source goes back to the creator who recited it. Again, it being a recitation, it is an action. Okay, when the creator, for example, would transcribe it onto Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, when the creation transcribes it into the Mus'haf and so on and so forth, this does not change the original form of the Quran being a actual recitation. That's not how this works, right? A transcription does not take away from the original attribute of it being a recitation, of it being speech.
Okay.
Can you please answer?
Are you done? Are you done?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I would like
Thank
you
you
to
so much.
answer.
So since you're unwilling to actually answer my question, I'll help you. When you say that the Quran is just a recitation, it's just the action of reciting. That's it. It's just the action of reciting. It's not an actual book. It's not an actual book, even though the Quran says that it's an actual book. This is the book revealed to you.
Did I say that?
Yes, you did. You said it's not a book.
No, I didn't. I said
Yes,
that
you did.
the original source of it being a recitation.
Wait, stop, please, stop.
Oh my God.
You literally said the Quran is not a book, it's a recitation, it's an action. You literally said that. So
Okay.
now that I got
So
you
when I referred to that, I was talking about the Mus'haf, right? Again, I'm talking about the book that you hold in your hands.
It's very simple. Is the Quran
I'm
a book?
talking about the book
Is the
that you
Quran a
hold
book?
in your hands, or Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz, which is also something that's transcribed.
Is
It
the
is
Quran a
not
book?
being the
This is
original
crazy.
source of it.
Is the Quran a book?
Oh my God. Okay. The original source of it is a recitation. It being written down into the book. Okay. It being written down into a book form, the way that we understand a book today, is not the original source of it. So once
Is it
again,
a book? Yes or no?
it is one of the revealed books of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which was
Very good.
originally from his
So it's a
speech.
book. Thank you. So
Okay,
the
from
Quran
what?
is a book that's revealed from Allah. Thank you so much, Itachi. So the Quran
How
is
is it
a
revealed?
book that's
Just
revealed
really
from
quick,
Allah.
how is it revealed?
Wait,
How is it
excuse me.
revealed?
Hold on. Excuse
Right.
me.
So
Thank
how
you
is it
for-
revealed?
Thank you for finally answering after
How
the
is it revealed?
marathon. So hold
how
on a
is it
second,
revealed?
please. Hold on a second, please.
Okay, so how is
So
it
the
revealed?
Quran
You're
itself,
getting a little bug-eyed right there. How is it revealed?
So this is where you got caught. You got caught when you just tried to simplify or oversimplify the Quran as simply being an action. You said out of your own mouth that it's not a book. You said that. So you went against your Quran, but now you're acknowledging that the Quran is a book. It's one of Allah's revealed books. Very good. So now when the Hadith over here says fasting will intercede for you, and also the Quran will intercede for you. Not you, not your action, not what you're doing. The Quran, the revealed book of Allah, is going to intercede for you on your behalf. And guess what? The revealed book of Allah, the Quran, is uncreated, it's eternal, and it's within Allah's essence that develops a consciousness that's able to defend you and talk back to Allah. You have, Itachi, a plurality of persons within your Allah. Tawheed destroyed.